Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about RPG myths. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about lies that RPGs try to sell you. In other words, things that many, and I would even argue most, role-playing games have in them, either as mechanics or just the way the story unfolds, that is not true in real life. Just absolute fabrication. Let's start with little ones, and I'll work my way up to the big ones. Probably one of the ones that I see frequently in games, and I always smile because I see it a lot, and I'm just like, oh, there it is again, is that when your character crouches, their gun accuracy goes up. I've looked this up across the decades. I've tried to look up to see if this is true. And let's just say that people have varying opinions. Gun experts, the military, there's various opinions on this about whether or not crouching down would increase your gun accuracy. There's stuff about points of contact and whether you're leaning against something and the surface you're crouching on and whether you're down just squatting or whether you actually have one knee down. They all vary. The one thing, though, that they said was if you're crouching and you start to move, your gun accuracy reduces a lot. And most of these games, once you crouch, you get that bonus, and they reduce your movement, but you can still move and get that bonus, which you shouldn't have. Similarly, a lot of games, I've done this, have that smart people are more perceptive, which we all know isn't true. But games with intelligence or IQ often use that in place of a perception stat or a perception skill, or they have skills that you would think would be based off perception, but they base it off of IQ. I've played a tabletop game that literally had a bonus to your gun skill based on your intelligence stat. And they supported it saying, gun experts say smart people shoot better. And I'm like, okay. I'm not sure what to take with that. I've never seen a study that showed that smart people are better with guns. But intelligence isn't even the worst one. Dexterity has to be the biggest attribute lie that's in almost every single role-playing game. And it's probably there because making an accurate simulation is not their goal, and I recognize that. Doesn't change the fact that a lot of RPGs out there try to tell you that dexterity covers everything, whether dexterity, agility, whatever they want to call it. It covers everything from hand-eye coordination, which is called proprioception, to full body coordination, which is often called gross motor control, to using your fingers in a very, very minute, careful ways, and being able to do that and having hands that don't shake and being able to control your fingers finely. That's called fine motor control. Those are usually very different. People can have one and not the other. Nope. Dexterity covers all of that in role-playing games. All that and beyond. They usually make you run faster. Your speed with using weapons or your speed of recovery or your speed of doing a lot of things all depends on that magical dexterity attribute, which I will say in Fallout covered way too many things than it should have. But Fallout is by far not the only RPG that has that myth. Let's get to some bigger things and not so specific. A lot of RPGs will tell you that you learn by doing the same thing over and over and over and over and succeeding at it. And I've told you here, and a lot of studies support this, that it's the failure that people learn from, not the success. And just doing the same thing over and over and over and over, eventually you don't learn anything new from it. You have to be challenged to learn. But most RPGs, you just play and play and play, and you keep getting better in it, and some of them have no cap. Another RPG myth is that time doesn't pass when you aren't there. And I get why RPGs do this, because it's not fun to be on a timer. And I've talked about that. But it causes this weird feeling of when you leave town, nobody does anything. There's nothing that happens. People just mill about. And maybe shopkeeper inventories get restored, but nobody solves any problem. Nobody leaves the town. Nobody does anything. Basically, time is suspended when you're not around people. And this goes to my next one, which is every RPG wants you to feel special. They want you to do things no one else can do. They want people in the world to treat you like you were special. That's why there are, the chosen one, and you're the reincarnation of some past god, or you're from some famous lineage, and only you can do what you do. And it's gone from my point of view, it's gone from feeling like some RPGs did this to now almost every RPG does this. In the late 70s and early 80s, when I started RPGs, you were just a random person or a random group of people, whether it was tabletop or computer games. Now, you're the special one. You're the chosen one. You're the second coming. You're the only one who can do this. If you don't do this thing, the whole universe will be destroyed. It's become a weird lie that, hey, play this game. You're the special one. And then similar to that, even though you're unique, somehow RPGs try to sell you on the fact that you know everything you can do and you understand those things fully, as if you had a list of skills in front of you, and somehow your character knows they can make fire. They know they can exactly how high they can jump. They know whether a lock can be picked by them or not. They don't have to try and keep failing. They can just glance at it and go, yep, I can't pick that lock. Time to move on. And I know it's done for fun, but there's a lot of things that are baked into the game. Like, these things are just known to you and they're consistent. Here's something that's related to that. You can look at something and just know everything about it. You look at an item and you know its name and all of its abilities. Any of the magic spells it can do. Like I said, you look at a lock and you're like, nope, that's a master level lock. I can't pick that. And somehow you just know this. You just know it. Something a lot of role-playing games do because of this knowing is when you pick up an item, whether it's an armor or a gun or just some cosmetic item like a hat, there are the best ones. The best ones for your character can be determined as if there is there's a function out there and it peaks. Like, this is the best gun for your character with this skill, which you know you have, and you know exactly how much you have. This is the best one for you to use. Some do this deliberately. They want you to be able to find the best thing and min-max your characters. Some role-playing games fight against doing that kind of min-maxing, but they still have best items, and they still tell you everything about your skills. And then they say, well, we don't want you to min-max, but here are all the tools you need to min-max. It's just a myth they're trying to sell you on. Most settings, especially fantasy settings, but sci-fi and everybody does this, the people in the world all hide their valuables all over the place. And then they may lock it up, but they also leave traps. And these traps never decay, and animals never set them off. Doesn't matter whether it's a trap in a cave that you would think probably in the last 1,000 years, tons of people have gone into. Certainly tons of animals. Rats have probably walked over that trap a million times and somehow not set it off. And it also didn't decay. That rope-based trap didn't decay after 1,000 years. Wow. And I know what people are saying. Magic. It's that funny Simpsons video where they go, if you ever see something like this, a wizard did it. I don't understand that when I'm playing a science fiction game and there's an ancient civilization and somehow all their stuff still works. But anyway, I'm getting near the end, I promise you. Probably one of the biggest, but I don't think it's the biggest myth that RPGs will sell you on is that your companions and your friends will never change and will never leave you. Once you get them in the group, they're bonded to you forever. Yeah, there are a few that have morale or loyalty values, but very few of them actually have the companion leave you. And even if they're going to, they usually warn you first. That doesn't happen in real life. Friends come and go. Very few of them warn you, hey, you've done a few things I don't like. You're getting close to my threshold. And then the biggest lie, the biggest myth that I think RPGs sell you on, and I think they all do this. I would love to hear a comment if you have a few that don't. But almost all, if not all, RPGs tell you that if you work hard and try hard and persevere, you will succeed and the villain won't. That just doesn't happen, folks. Every RPG tells you this, even mine. But at least mine don't also tell you the lie that you're the hero. A lot of mine, they let you be the bad guy if you want to be. And all they do at the end of the game is tell you that you finished. And by the way, here's some effects that your actions caused. And that's why I sometimes let you be a bad person, because I want you to see all the bad things that happen. But it did have that myth that if you worked hard enough, you could solve the problem. At least I can say that mine just finish and say, here's what happened. Because sometimes that's all you get.